Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the World of Wrestling podcast. Here today to discuss about the WWE Monday Night Raw episode of April 6, 2026 review. My thoughts on the show was it seemed to me like they were really trying to make up for the Pat McAfee thing, and they were trying to be very edgy. And to me, it just seems very desperate, honestly. Did the show feel exciting? Yeah, I'd have to say with the commentary that they made with CM Punk starting the show, uh, the action that we saw with Brock Lesnar and Obafemi to close the show was pretty exciting and electric. But the problem is there was no contract signing. It just was another fucking brawl. Couldn't even get through a contract signing without them tearing each other apart. They were able to split them apart last week, but this week they couldn't do shit, which to me makes absolutely no sense. So I don't know. In-ring work tonight. Not all that exciting. Nothing really happened wrestling-wise. Nothing memorable. Nada. Storytelling, there was plenty of that. We got explanation as to why Seth Rollins was attacked. Seth believed it was a deal that was made between Gunther and Paul Heyman, but that actually was not the case. Gunther just went out on his own accord. And by doing so, it saved Paul Heyman's life from getting killed from Seth Rollins. So he said you're gonna have to owe me a bigger favor than just a big thank you. Which probably will lead to him getting a shot for a world championship at some point. Which I think would make a lot more sense than to have him go ahead and just face Seth Rollins without any rhyme or reason. Now, they didn't go too heavily into it. I think they kind of failed explaining in more depth. I think going into a deal with each other would have been a lot better. It would have made a lot more sense. Because Paul Heyman has no one else to protect him. So Gunther coming in would have made a lot of sense. Funny thing is, Gunther was moved over to the Seth Rollins match program, and Rey Mysterio's recovered from his injury, apparently, and now he's been added to the Intercontinental Ladder match. So Rey was fine to compete against Gunther. He just probably took a little longer than what they expected. And since Seth Rollins ain't got nothing going on his program, they just decided to move him with Gunther, and then Rey Mysterio had an extra spot into the ladder match, would turned it into a six-man ladder match for the IC Championship, so that's why they went the route they went. What else happened on the show? iShow Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory are official to team together in a six-man tag against the Usos and LA Knight. I mean, a lot of commentary made about price tickets by CM Punk, which I'll get into. I thought that was pretty outrageous and kind of strange. We got a Finn Balor promo again. Not him actually being there, but a vignette. And pretty much gave us a clue that the Demon Finn Balor is coming to WrestleMania. So if you're betting on wrestling, over on BetUS or BetOnline. I would definitely put money on him on BetUS. He's about $30 as the maximum bet that you can put down to win back $10. Because he's the favorite in that matchup, and I don't see why he wouldn't win that match. I don't know if I'm putting money down on it, because they could always change their mind on that. Two underdogs I have a very strong feeling on that probably could win is Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. I got $5 on them each. They're both plus money. One's plus 250 with CM Punk, and the other is plus 175 with Brock Lesnar. So yeah, I kind of see it going that way. And I honestly think that they're both going to win. I really do. I don't think Brock Lesnar, week after week's being overpowered by Obafemi to ultimately lose. I just don't see it. Brock hasn't had an advantage in the matchup leading into the match, and I can imagine he's going to be in a war, very close matchup. Obafemi's going to come close to winning. It's going to be kind of like a Triple H Undertaker WrestleMania 27 match. That's how I kind of see it. I see Obafemi's going to pull off a beatdown on Brock Lesnar for a little while, and then Brock's going to find a way to win with the Kimura lock, and he's going to force him to have to either tap out or he's going to break his arm. And I think they should go with his arm getting broken, and that's that. So that's just my viewpoint on that. What else? Let's just go ahead and go in chronological order, shall we? So, let's see here. We get CM Punk coming out. And so Punk throws the title into the ring as he's getting to the ring. Punk sits in the center of the ring, and the crowd is buzzing, and an OTC chant picks up. Punk says that Houston is a wrestling town. There's a lot of history here. Punk has had some great moments in this building, but there's also ghosts. Things that were supposed to happen didn't. This is Paul Boucher territory, Houston wrestling. Punk loved hearing about the old-timers. You can't help but compare yourself to them and wonder how they'd handle a similar situation. Sometimes he dreams about what Harley Race would do. Dreams are stories we tell ourselves. The important stuff happens when we're awake. Punk says, Houston, I'm awake. Is it great to be alive on a Monday night in Houston or what? Same old shit. Just like Cody's saying, what do you want to talk about? The crowd starts cheering, and Punk says the Roman Reigns is not here tonight, and the fans start booing. 2 weeks ago, shockingly enough, with help from his cousins, he put Punk through a ringside table with a powerbomb. Reigns thought he was the king of the world, and then Punk couldn't wait to get revenge the next week at Madison Square Garden to get it even. Punk showed up cousinless and got his receipt by putting Reigns through the ringside table alone. Roman Reigns says he hates Punk, and Punk says that's good. If Reigns hates him, then that tells Punk he's exactly where he needs to be. People hate Punk because he won't trade his authenticity for approval. Being hated by losers is the price he pays for not being one of them. An OTC chant picks up. Punk sarcastically says they can chant and maybe Reigns will show up. Reigns didn't show up. Punk showed up, and he's an old man. A CM Punk chant picks up, and Punk says Reigns hates him, and he knows why. Punk wants to explain why he hates Roman Reigns. Punk stands on the commentary table and takes off his jacket, and points at the WrestleMania sign. And then Punk and Reigns have the tools to get to the pinnacle. Punk's tools are self-made and sharpened to deadly point through years of self-belief and hard work, spite, and sacrifice. Reigns' tools, though, are store-bought, hand-delivered, and like Reigns, is plastic. Back in the day, Punk was too young and stupid to understand. Now he's too old and rich to give a damn. Punk finally understands why TKO sends Reigns' beltless ass to Jimmy Fallon, because he's safe and plastic. Kind of like how WWE is. They're safe and plastic and phony. So that makes a lot of sense. As for Punk, you never know what he'll do or say. Why is that? He's done half a dozen movies and TV shows and not miss a day, but the people will boo him when he gives them the news that Reigns isn't here. When Reigns does bother to show up, he shows up late and leaves early. Reigns thinks he's The Rock. At least The Rock is a Hollywood superstar. And then Punk corrects himself and says, oh, I'm sorry, was a Hollywood superstar. Oh, shit. Shots fired by CM Punk in that promo. He fucking killed it in this promo tonight. This was a pretty good pipe bomb, I gotta admit. And just like Reigns was a champion, but that fairy tale is long over. This is pro wrestling, not cinema. Somebody ought to tell the fucking creators of this fucking company that, because they believe it is. Don't believe me? Go ask John Cena's Go ask John Cena about his last match. He'd tell you it was cinema. So, I don't know. I wish it was wrestling instead of some bullshit cinema ripoff of Marvel comic book character type shit. Anyway, Punk's cousin isn't on the board of directors. Punk doesn't surround himself with wise men, advocates, and yes men who protect him from the truth. Punk's daddy wasn't a pro wrestler who gave him a favored job because he sucked at football. Punk earned and deserves everything he's busted his ass for. Reigns is just a bucktooth Nepo baby who ate dog food for a weird old man. Mentioning the 2019 skit with Baron Corbin. The crowd is stunned and buzzing loudly. That weird old man treated Punk like a dog and expected him to smile, but he had FU money. So he took that along with his dignity and left. That can't control him. A CM Punk chant fires up. Punk asks if they were having fun. Well, one thing that Punk forgot to mention is that he also shit on the wrestling fans as well as shitting on pro wrestling. I can understand he was fatigued and burnt out from the job, working for Vince McMahon and killing his love for professional wrestling, which is perfectly fine and understandable because God knows, as wrestling fans, they kill your love for pro wrestling anyway. So, it is what it is. But, to shit on the fans, though, in the process of your frustrations with what the company's done, I totally disagree with, and I think it was an absolute disrespect to the wrestling fans who have supported him and still do. Which blows my fucking mind that they still do, but it is what it is. I will admit, though, I gotta admit, I have a love-hate relationship for CM Punk. Part of me like him, and another part of me hates his guts. And not because I'm jealous of his success or anything like that. It's the fact that he talks so much shit about wrestling and how this and that and yada yada yada, and yet the man he basically doesn't support his own words. He goes back on his word. Now, granted, you could say the same thing about me, but I mean, I'm just a fucking wrestling fan. I'm not like saying, well, I guess you could compare me to CM Punk. I do love WWE. I want to stay a fan, but like, what the fuck are they doing, man? They fucking kill the joy out of it. And I don't know what the hell their problem is. Can't they get their money and have us be happy at the same time? Like, what do we gotta be so fucking, like, decentralized from this? Not feel anything from it. I mean, like, why do you gotta do that? To me, that's not even good business practice. It's stupid. Quite frankly, but what I've been saying, it is what it is. But whatever. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? So, when people ask him for a pipe bomb, you need to understand that this is what you get. Reigns can brag about how many times he's been in the main event, but if he was given the same opportunities and sucked at the first 8 of them so spectacularly bad that he'd be fired and blackballed. You can't blackball Punk. Punk can stand on the bridge and blow it up because, bitch, I know how to swim. That shit was funny. I mean, he was stacking bars. Then he went into Pat McAfee, calling him some kind of fucking hillbilly. He says that McAfee thinks he can come to his business and run his mouth, but just wrote a check his narrow ass can't cash. McAfee wants to talk about ticket sales so he can call his agent, who was foolish enough to shoehorn him into this business, and tell him to lower the damn ticket prices so people can afford it, and the crowd erupts. As they should, because this shit's fucking getting ridiculous with these ticket prices. They're outrageous with this shit. Anyway. And that was the biggest thing that stuck out. I'm starting to believe that this shit is scripted, though. I believe they're doing this deliberate they believe they're trying to create some kind of story, like a civil war amongst TKO and Triple H, or the originals of pro wrestling that did the actual started with WWE before it was sold type of thing. I don't know. But this is really weird. I've never seen you would never see this under Vince McMahon's creative direction. Never. This shit would never happen. Nor would Vince McMahon price gouge the shit out of people's fucking pocketbooks. WrestleMania, yeah, you'll see ticket prices pretty expensive near the barricade towards the ring, but I mean, not to this extent, like $16,000 for a second row seat for one night? No, I don't believe you'd see that. I mean, I've looked at ticket prices in the past, and there's other seats that you can get that are not the best, but they're at least a lot better than, nosebleed sections where you can hardly see anything, and you would have been spending a lot less than what you do for, nosebleed seats. So, it is what it is, but whatever. But anyway, Punk will be damned if he'll have someone who kicked a football for a living come to his business and talk to him about selling tickets and putting asses in seats. McAfee has a receipt coming as well, and Punk wants them to lower the ticket prices so families can come and watch him stand on Roman Reigns' throat at WrestleMania, and Punk is fired up and goes into the crowd to pose. He wasn't telling no fucking lies. He was straight up, man. This shit is fucking weird. I mean, downright weird. And honestly, I think it's all part of them just trying to this is like damage control, honestly. So they're basically now just telling the fans what they want to hear. And that's really what it is. But anyway, IShowSpeed's backstage, looking for Danhausen. Danhausen appears and IShowSpeed begs him to lift the curse. Danhausen has a jar of teeth and says he could uncurse him if he gives him his mansion. So he bargains by taking people's shit. GM Adam Pearce walks up and Danhausen disappears. IShowSpeed says his life has been a disaster. World Tag Team Champions Austin Theory and Logan Paul appear. IShowSpeed doesn't want anything to do with them. Paul says everyone hates Speed. His only saving grace is to be with them. They pull IShowSpeed away and Pearce says, that is a terrible idea. Oh boy. Next we had Austin Theory going one-on-one with LA Knight in the opening match of the show. Now this match wasn't all that impressive. I didn't think much of it. Pretty much the whole thing was a set up a 6-man tag team match. IShowSpeed was being chased by LA Knight. This distraction caused LA Knight to lose the match, and Theory rolled him up for a pinfall and grabbed his tights for the 1-2-3. After the match, IShowSpeed is trapped in the ring with the Usos. LA Knight, IShowSpeed tries to say he tripped. Jey Uso grabs IShowSpeed and shoots at him. And Jimmy Uso signals for the end. And they go hit the IShowSpeed with 1D. But Logan Paul pulls Speed out of the ring. Knight grabs a microphone, tells the Vision and IShowSpeed not to go anywhere. Knight calls Raw GM Adam Pearce out, and Pearce makes it official that it's going to be a 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania. Oh boy, oh boy. Can't wait to go take a piss break for this one. Pearce says he told IShowSpeed he should have gone home, but instead he's going to WrestleMania. Pearce says it's official. Knight says it's official that they'll get stomped out by him and the Usos. And that's that. Michael Cole says what happened this past Friday was disappointing and made him angry. Cole is friends with both Cody Rhodes and Pat McAfee. He's going to wait for the end game. Good for him. Finn Balor is walking backstage. He passes Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller, who are arguing, and Balor will face JD McDonough next. Video package of CM Punk's WrestleMania moment he'd never forget is his appearance as an extra in the main event of WrestleMania 22. Punk was a gangster for John Cena's entrance. Next, Finn Balor will battle Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. And then we get JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Not much happened there. Pretty much there was no match, honestly. Hold on a second. Yeah, there was no winner in this matchup, nothing. It just ended up being a no contest. The match never happened. So yeah, I forgot about that match taking place. Oh well. As you can see, I didn't particularly pay attention to the show all that much. Like I said, there was not much wrestling that really attracted my attention. It was just the stories that were being told, which is more important at this point, especially coming close to WrestleMania. So we get a sit-down interview with Michael Cole and AJ Lee, asking her how it feels to be back, and Becky Lynch immediately interrupts, saying Cole is the worst announcer in WWE history and is throwing Lee softballs. Cole says he doesn't need this and leaves. So the interview ended very quickly. Lynch talks about seeing Lee after her last WrestleMania. Lee knew that her replacement was on the way. At WrestleMania, Lee will have no home field advantage. Unlike Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania is her home. And Lee gets emotional and says Lynch continues to underestimate her. She's proud of Lynch and what she's done. This gets Lynch kind of feeling like she's being condescending. And she tells her to let her finish. She said those doors, though, that Lynch ran through were knocked down by Lee first, and Lee isn't replaceable because after 10 years away, the company kept calling her, wanting to have her back in that time that she was gone, but she kept refusing to go back. Fans never forgot her as well, and Lee is the Intercontinental Champion and your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. Meaning that her daughter considers AJ Lee as her favorite wrestler. When Lynch goes home to tuck her little girl in, she'll tell Lynch that her favorite wrestler is AJ Lee, and Lee gets up and says, "See you at WrestleMania." Lynch flips out and kicks the stool over. Wow. Very impressive. We had a week off from this shit, and then this is what we got. Pretty much rhetoric that we've heard before. Anyway. Next we got Bayley versus Lash Legend. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Did I really pay attention to this match? Fuck no. But Bayley won. So whoop-de-fuck-you-do. And there was no outside interference. Wasn't that nice? Anyway, there's a... Next we had Seth Rollins addressing being attacked by Gunther. Seth makes his way to the ring. Rollins is fired up and greets the Houston audience. Rollins has been gone for 6 months and was waiting to walk down the ramp and hear them sing that damn song. The crowd loudly sings to him, and Rollins says he is back. At WrestleMania, he'll face Gunther. Rollins can't figure out, though, how they got here. They don't have a long history. There's no personal issue with them. Over the past week, he's been running it through his head. The only logical conclusion he has is that Gunther has entered into some sort of business relationship with Paul Heyman, which would make a lot more sense. Rollins wants to put this as plainly as possible. Rollins wants to take back the title that he never lost, the World Heavyweight Championship. The second thing he wants is to kill the Vision. Logan Paul and Austin Theory are in a blood feud with the Samoans. Braun Breaker is on the shelf, as is Bronson Reed. Paul Heyman was left to his own defenses, so Rollins put Brock on a silver platter for Obafemi. So they basically tied Obafemi and Brock Lesnar through Seth Rollins as why this match took place. I say bullshit. Anyway, the crowd chants for Obafemi. Rollins says Femi is the future, but he wants to talk about the present. If it's the intention of Gunther to be a shield for Heyman, it's become personal for Rollins. The crowd starts to react. Gunther gets in the ring and grabs Rollins, but Rollins slides away, and Gunther avoids a stomp, but Rollins boots him out of the ring, and Rollins goes for a suicide dive, but Gunther catches him and sends him over the commentary table, and Rollins dives on him and punches him as well. So WWE officials run down to separate them. Gunther boots him down and walks off. Rollins gets in the ring and is furious. Then that's the end of the segment. We then go backstage where Gunther walks backstage, bumps into Paul Heyman. Heyman says he doesn't know why Gunther did what he did in Madison Square Garden. There's nothing personal between Gunther and Rollins, as we already know. And Heyman says, I owe you a very big thank you. And Gunther says it's personal to Rollins, which makes him happy. This is personal to Gunther. Gunther extends his hand and shakes Heyman, and then Gunther pulls Heyman close and says he owes him so much more than a very big thank you, and Gunther walks off. The announcers, Michael Cole, actually says, well, from past history, Paul Heyman did owe some people a favor, and you've seen how those turned out, obviously, from last year. Anyway, get a couple of replays with Liv Morgan about what she said about Stephanie Vacour, and Roxanne Perez's return, attacking Stephanie Vacour. And then a video package of Stephanie Vacour says that Liv Morgan can do better than middle school jokes about her mother. Morgan is a brainless bitch who talks a lot and says nothing. Morgan is scrambling for purpose and trying to solve her daddy issues with someone who is less than a man, like Dominic Mysterio. Vacour's purpose is to inspire girls. In Las Vegas, Morgan will never get her hands on the women's championship. Vacour says, "Welcome to my inferno, Liv Morgan." Oh well. Then we get the IC champion Penta will team with Dragon Lee and Javon Evans to face the Los Americanos. This match was just your typical flips and dives and bullshit. Nothing exciting really happened. If you've seen flips and dives before, you've seen them all. Penta, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans obviously win the match. I've already mentioned Rey Mysterio was added to this match. He congratulated Penta on his run as the IC champion and winning that belt. And basically saying that he would go ahead and like to be added to the WrestleMania match for the IC title in the ladder match. So he is now added with no questions asked. Penta shakes Mysterio's hand and says, "Let's make history," and the crowd is fired up. Okay. We get footage of Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Pat McAfee segment that was shown twice, and his reaction, Cody's reaction towards that as well. So, it is what it is. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky embrace backstage. Next up, they'll face B-Fab and Mitchin. Austin Theory is talking with Maxine Dupree in the background. This week on Cody Rhodes' podcast, Paul Levesque will be his guest. Oh, goody, oh, goody. I wonder what kind of lame-ass questions they're going to ask. Video package of Asuka talking about Io Sky, pretty much saying that she's opened the door for her and allowed her and Kairi Sane to reap the benefits of it, and she loved her very much and didn't expect anything back from her, just to show appreciation towards her, and that's pretty much it. Nothing special. So she pretty much is disappointed in her and is now going to show her some unloving care to her at this point. So she's pretty much in the situation where she's going to go ahead and beat her ass. But apparently that was came a little early because Jade Cargill kind of beat her to the punch, in a sense. Because Io Sky got her ass kicked tonight by Jade Cargill and the B-Fab and Mitchin. So, there you go. Anyway, let's continue on this tirade of bullshit. Because that's pretty much what this shit is. I mean, even with the promos and everything that was good, it's just like, sorry, too late. You're not going to change anybody's mind. It is what it is. Let's just move on and start over, I guess. I don't know. But personally, I don't give a fuck. If they totally fuck up even more, it just puts a smile on my face, honestly. I'm over this company. It's time that it takes away from me and what I could also be doing that I have other interests in, like basketball, MMA, boxing, stuff like that. I mean, honestly, this shit just, it sucks. Tonight was a good show, but then again, they've fucked up so many times leading into this pay-per-view that they're just doing a good job and they're exposing themselves. They're exposing themselves that they don't actually try to book a show. That's what they've been doing this whole time leading into WrestleMania. Dragging their feet and not putting the actual effort in to make the show worthwhile to purchase the fucking tickets. And then on top of the tickets being outrageously high. And that's the end of the story for all of this. It is what it is, personally. It's just bullshit. But anyway, next match was B-Fab and Mitchin against Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley actually ended up winning this matchup with Io Sky doing a roll-up pinfall on B-Fab. So apparently B-Fab can't kick out of a roll-up pinfall by a miniature chick like Io Sky, who's smaller than me and is like 5'1", and I'm way taller than her. I'm like 5'6" by 5 inches. I already mentioned Jade Cargill beat the shit out of Io Sky while Rhea Ripley was pinned to the ropes from in the corner by Mitchin and B-Fab. So there you go. I'm not going to go on a whole lot. Not much was done there. Finn Balor's video package. Balor says there's a side he's never shown Dominic Mysterio. It's a side he thought that was gone forever, but Mysterio has awoken it. At WrestleMania, it's coming for you. The demon's look starts to overtake him. So obviously we are getting the demon Finn Balor. Dominic Mysterio is looking worried with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and JD McDonough. McDonough tells him not to worry about it. They need to worry about his deadbeat dad being in the WrestleMania ladder match. Roxanne Perez walks up. Morgan thanks her for helping her with Valkyrie last week. There's an elephant in the room and that they need to address. She knows Finn Balor brought her into the Judgment Day, but he turned his back. They did what they did. They did what needed to be done, and yada yada. All of a sudden, Stephanie Valkyrie attacks them from behind, and she drives Liv Morgan's skull right into the TV screen, destroying it that was behind them during the entire segment. That's pretty fucking brutal. And then lastly was the contract signing that never was. Never came up, never happened. Brock Lesnar and Obafemi went through a fucking table that was supposed to take place, and everything's a fucking brawl. This whole show is either a promo or they're killing each other. That's all you fucking see on these shows. That's all they think people are interested in. Like, I don't know, man. You can't come up with anything else, like maybe screwing them in matches, something, anything. This shit is just fucking awful. I give up with this shit. They're trying so hard. They're putting a lot of effort in this episode. Where was the effort leading into it from January up to now? Where was it? Was it there? No. Because they know they're behind the 8 ball. They got to sell tickets. And they're doing everything they can to do so by desperation. And that's really all it is. So, that's your show in a nutshell. I thought it was good, but with everything that's led up to this episode, it just shows you that these people do not care. And the only reason why they're putting this kind of effort into this episode the way they did is because they're desperate. That's it. And if you can show us that kind of effort on this episode tonight, like you did, you can do that with other episodes beforehand and on in the future. There's no reason why they can't put good effort into making good shows for people to tune in for and spend their hard-earned money for as well. And they just don't give a fuck. That's all it is. Plain and simple. So anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.